Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Today we are just going to jump right into this tutorial because this is that time of year where I don't know about you, but I seem to be a little short on extra time. So I did already get a head start. I applied the Bare Minerals Mineralist Lip Gloss Balm. I used this clear shade. It comes in a duo. And then I also applied my Bare Minerals Bare Pro Liquid Foundation. I'm going for, again, more of a full coverage and a little more of a matte finish today because I feel like that kind of helps the focus remain on the eyes, which is what we're going to be focusing on today. So let's go ahead and get started with some eye primer. All right, today I'm doing a two-step priming method because I want a little more coverage. So I'm starting off with the Milani Eyeshadow Primer. And this is a really good kind of translucent primer. It does keep your shadow in place, but I want a little extra coverage. So because I have super oily lids, adding concealer usually doesn't work, but adding the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot does. If you don't have super oily eyelids, you could go right in with this MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot and just use that as your eyeshadow primer. You've seen me use this around the edge of my lips, but this is actually its intended purpose. Now you'll notice I did not let that Milani eyeshadow primer dry and set before I went in with this, and that is because on my more mature eyelids, I feel like the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot, if you wait until that primer dries, it can drag a little bit on the skin. To blend that paint pot in, I used the Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush. I love that it's fluffy. It helps you not get too much product, and it really helps blend that in quickly. It is almost set, but while it finishes setting, I'm gonna go right to the brows. I'm gonna just fast forward right through this, but I'm gonna use the IT Cosmetics Brow Power, and this is the shade Universal Taupe. So as you saw from the thumbnail, we're doing green today, but you could do blue, you could do purple, whatever color, but I'm gonna do things in a little different order than I normally do, and I think this will be helpful and a little bit easier. If you struggle with winged liner, hooded eyes, hopefully this will be helpful. So I'm gonna start off first with the Urban Decay eyeliner in the shade Loaded. This is a deep, dark, evergreen shade. It does have a base of black, so it is not overtly like bright grassy green. You could use Mildew, that's another brighter green shade, but I kind of wanted to use this one. So I'm going to just go from the lower lash line, from the corner of the lower lash line, about 3/4 of the way across. And you can see I just kind of pressed that in with my finger, and then I tapped a little bit more here up close to the lashes. All right, but I didn't extend it because we're gonna do something there. Okay, now we're going to create our wing shape. And to do that, I'm doing a trick that I just think is easy, especially when you're in a hurry. I am not gonna use these, but if you have these on hand, these are the e.l.f. Line and Define eye tape. These are great. They're not overly sticky, so they won't tug at your eyes, but I know that probably most of you don't have those on hand, but you probably have a roll of Scotch tape on hand, especially at this time of year. So in order to make this so it does not pull and tug your delicate skin, we are going to place that piece of tape on the back of your hand, and then you're going to peel it off, and then you're going to place it down again, peel it off, and this will leave enough tack on the tape to stick, but it's not going to tug. So now what we're going to do, because we put that line down there, it's going to give us a base or a kind of a guide of where we're going to start on the outer corner. And then you want to, if you have hooded eyes, you want to stay below, you can see the fold of my eye there. This one is less pronounced than this one, but I want to go below that fold with the tape, and I want to angle it up towards the tail of the brow. And then before I really glue it down, we're gonna do the other side. Okay, so take your time, make sure you get those tape angles even. And now we're gonna go to eyeshadow. So I'm gonna use the Lorac Pro palette. This is the Fairy Tale Forest. It has one of the most beautiful emerald green shades in here. It's just beautiful. And I thought paired with this eyeliner and then this beautiful shimmery kind of light gold shade, I just thought this palette would be perfect for today. I'm gonna start off with this shade right here. Now, if you're familiar with how these palettes are laid out, they have the names of the shadows on a separate sheet because these are interchangeable. This flips down, and so you can move shadows around, so they wanted to do that. If you'll forgive me for not referencing the exact name for all of these shadows, it'll go quicker. So we're just gonna start with this one. I'm using the Sigma E50. And by the way, I just cleaned all of my brushes this weekend. It's so nice to have fresh, clean, soft brushes again. I posted a picture on Instagram and I think a lot of you said you're in the same boat as me. I think all of my brushes, almost all of my brushes were dirty. Now we're gonna go to the crease and I'm just gonna go in real lightly with this shade. It has some coolness to it and I'm going to use a fluffy brush. So this is the M504 from Morphe and I'm just tapping in lightly and I am now going to make sure I bring that shadow over the tape in the outer corner and I'm going to just keep this pretty light. This isn't a color that is going to really stand out when our eyes are done, but it is the color that's going to just help define the crease. Because I have hooded eyes, I feel it's really important to put a little bit of a shadow here in the crease. Now we're going to go to liner in that beautiful green shade. So we're gonna go back to our loaded liner and I'm going to bring this all the way from the inner corner, just real thin line here. And because this is a deep green, it will also help kind of enhance the lash line, make it a little bit thicker, but we're also going to have a nice base for that green shadow. So if you don't have a liner or you don't have a shadow, you can just use one or the other, but by using both, it really helps enhance the color and the staying power. All right, over the tape here, I am just kind of working my pencil across the edge and then I am kind of creating more of a wedge shape. So a little bit of a wing with that color. And you can see this pencil has a little bit of blue tones to it. So it is a very cool green. And that is why I used a cool color through my crease. And now right over the top of it, I'm gonna go in with this beautiful shade right here. I'm using the BK Beauty 204. And I am now going to just kind of press that right over that liner. And a little bit, I'm gonna go across the edge just a tiny bit. So if your line isn't perfect, you can use the shadow to just kind of diffuse it a little bit. And then I'm going to add one more layer to that liner with the Sigma E27. I'm gonna go in with the shade right above it, which is almost like a yellowy, kind of almost an olive green. And this brush is slightly fluffy, so it's not going to give full on pigmentation, but what I want to do is just go right above the top of that line and brush that over. And do you see, it just gives this nice little gradation of color. So it's wonderful. These are all in the same palette, but if you don't have this palette, I am sure you have kind of a yellowy olivey green and maybe a bluey turquoise or a deep green in one of your palettes. Oh my goodness, I love how that turned out. All right, now one final step on the lid is we're gonna go in with this shade right here. We might also mix a little bit of this, we'll see. But I'm gonna use a precise flat brush. You could use the MAC 239, that would also work. This is the BK Beauty A505 brush. And I'm going to use this so that I don't mess up my liner. Normally I like to go in with my finger with these shimmer shades on my lid. But I'm going to first apply this with this brush and just kind of get it placed where I want it to be. And you can keep adding layers. We can also wet our brush if we need to. I may try that. We'll just see. I want shimmer there, but I don't want it to overtake the look of that liner. That's about perfect. All right, now one final step before we take the tape off and reveal our look. I am going to add a tiny little bit of liquid black liner just right here, kind of at the base of where the tape is. And that's just going to kind of add one final, almost a frame to that wonderful green. And I'm using the Wet n Wild Breakup Proof liquid liner. This has been pretty good, except I noticed yesterday the tip was already starting to get a little frayed. So I don't know, the Kat Von D or the KVD tattoo liquid liner is still my favorite. But all right, so I'm going right on the edge and over the edge of that tape. And I just want the thinnest line here. And then I'm going to go in towards the lashes and just go part way across. I'm gonna stop about midway. And I'm just pressing that into the lashes. And then I'm going to be sure to connect it right under, kind of right in the corner to that green liner we put on the lower lash line. Okay, it's time to pull off the tape. Go very slow. It is going to remove any foundation, so you can always apply your foundation after your eyes, but look at that nice, crisp, sharp line. And then you can see right here, I have just this little bit of a gap. It kind of goes like this. And then right there, we're just gonna fix a little bit of that. So one final step on the lower lash line, I'm just gonna take my Morphe M432 and I'll first go in with a little bit of this green shade and then a little bit of the shade above it. So just starting off with that green shade and just going to use this now to softly blend that black liner into the lower lash liner here. And then I will wipe off that brush and go in with the olive green shade above. And I'm going to start here with that about center point and a little bit lower. And I just love the look of a little bit of shine on the lower lash line. There's that little hint sparkle through the lashes. I think it looks so pretty. All right, now it's time to clean up under the eyes. I'm just going to use my almond oil. And as you clean up, that's an opportunity when you can kind of even out your wings. I used that opportunity to just smooth out that corner there. And now going in with the NARS Radiant Creamy Corrector, color corrector in light. Definitely needs some concealing here. And then using the Clinique Even Better Concealer. This is the shade WN04. It's close to being a little dark for me, but I think I can get it to work for today. So just using, I know it looks like a lot, but it's just a small amount. And then I'm going to blend it in using the BK Beauty A506 brush. And then because that's borderline dark, I'm gonna use the Jaclyn Hill Under Eye Setting Powder, and this is in Brightening Pink. And just going to tap on a little bit of this. Yeah, that's what we needed. And the rest of the face, I'm gonna use the Nakia Joy Setting Powder. And she has now come out with this same powder that's unscented, but I have to say I love a powder that smells like a sweet golden Oreo cookie. I think it's delicious. So I am using this e.l.f. powder puff. I know every time I use this, people ask where that is from. The e.l.f. doesn't make this powder puff anymore, but ColourPop has a similar one that I'll link down below. Time for some contour. I'm going to go back to the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronzer Duo. And this is the light combination. And using the Sigma F05, I'm just going to put this in the hollows of my cheeks and around the hairline and under the jawline. And I'm going to bring this just a little bit further down on my forehead. This is a color that for me, I can actually use this a little bit more also where the bronzer would normally be placed. It's not too cool of a tone. I just like that little added color kind of a little bit further down on the forehead. My goodness, it's so much better with a clean brush. All right, and then I'm going to use my Lorac contour brush and go in with a little bit of that on the nose. For blush, I have pulled out a blush that I have not used in a long time. It's MAC's Gingerly. Pretty sure they still carry this. If they don't, another one that would be similar that has just a little less of that kind of peachy pink tone would be Beige for Days from Bare Minerals. So you can see those side by side. You can see the difference, but this would also work because I just want something that's a little more neutral. But I'm going to use the E4 from Morphe, and I'm going to just, oh, this is such a pretty color. Forgotten how pretty this is. Oh my goodness. Now for highlight, you could use the Charlotte Tilbury highlighter from that duo, but I want to use something a little more crazy glowy, and this is Stunner from Tarte. And this has, whoa, a lot of shine, pigmentation. It's so pretty, but yet I feel like it meshes well in with the skin. So it will give you that really wet highlighted look if that's what you want. And then I'm just using this E30 from Sigma and a little more of that highlighter right on the inner corner. You could go back to the palette. The palette definitely has some great highlighter shades, but I just feel like sometimes while I have this out, it's just as easy, and it really helps tie in your cheek highlighter to kind of brings the whole look together. All right, time to curl the lashes. All right, now I'm just adding the Origins Underwear for Lashes Primer Mascara. And then before that completely dries, I'm going to use the IT Cosmetics Superhero Mascara, a couple coats of this. And then on the lower lash line, because I don't want anything to smudge or budge, I'm using the Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Extensions. Okay, I topped off the extra gloss. Now I'm gonna go back to my MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot and just use a little bit of this around the edge of my lips. Help even out this line and also help our lip liner stay in place longer. For liner, I've chosen the Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat in Pillow Talk 2 Medium. This is neutral, kind of a neutral pink, but it has a little more color. You could do a very nude lip with this look, but I kind of want a little more color on the lips. Now for lipstick, another option would be Dolly Dreamer from Buxom. This would be beautiful. You can see how that would just kind of tie the look together, make it a little more dramatic. Another shade that would be beautiful as well is this one by MAC. It's Gel. And this also pairs well even with this lip liner, but this would be another more neutral color. But I've chosen the Charlotte Tilbury Very Victoria shade. All right, here's the finished look. And I have to say, I just love how the eyes turned out. I feel like there is that subtle hint of color and the subtle sparkle. So it makes it super wearable, and pairing it with kind of more of this kind of mid-tone rosy lip color, I feel like this is a look that will translate well any time of the year. So I hope that you give this look a try, and be sure you are subscribed to my channel, because coming up next week, I have a glam get ready with me hair and makeup video. And then also I have my year-end wrap up of my 2021 darlings. I hope that you have a wonderful Christmas, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.